Two Christmas stories I've been working on, and I'll tell you one. The first one I want to tell you, or maybe the only one I tell you, it's based on true things, but some things have been changed to make it more entertaining for you. And this happened. I grew up in the 50s. I was a little child in the 1950s, and I remember the best Christmas present I ever had was the entire Roy Rogers Dale Liggins Ranch with the Pat Brady's and his Jeep and their horses. Oh, they were plastic. They had a little fort. Had all kinds of cowboy stuff. But we always had a live tree in the first part of my childhood because my father had grown up with a live tree. And we lived in South Carolina, and he would sometimes go get a tree off the side of the road because he said he was a taxpayer and the trees that were growing on the side of the road belonged to the people. So he could get one. And so it would be like, and also he would pick a tree out and it would look straight until he cut it and put it in the living room, and then it leaned to the left and then it leaned to the right. But he had his true tree smell like a tree. It was a fir tree that he liked to have. And we had that. It was fine. We were waiting for him to get one, and until my mother took my sister and I shopping. We were shopping the week of Thanksgiving, and we were in Sears Roebuck. We had a 2-story Sears Roebuck, and there was a display on each landing. And on the second landing, we stopped, and we saw it. It was the new atomic space age Christmas tree. It was made out of aluminum, and there was a little wheel at the bottom of it, and a light was shining through it. And the tree turned green, and then it turned blue, and then it turned red, and the room turned green and blue and red, and the lights were sparkling off the tree, and my mother's face was going blue and green and red. And I could tell by the look in her eyes that she had to have this atomic space age Christmas tree. And so she went home and told my father, "We don't need a new Christmas tree. We don't need to cut one on the side of the road. We need this. It's the space age. We've sent a man to the moon. Not the moon. We launched Sputnik. The Russians launched Sputnik, and we were in a space race. This future was ahead of us, the atomic space age. And it was only 1995, which sounded like a lot of money to my father. 1995 for the little one and $29.95 for the big one, and it came with like 149 branches that you put together, guaranteed not to rust." She said, "We could just buy this one tree and use it every year. You wouldn't have to go cut down a tree. You wouldn't have to put up a tree. The tree wouldn't be in danger of burning up. The tree wouldn't shed its leaves, thistles. And it's just be a wonderful thing. We would be part of the future if we had this atomic space age Christmas tree." My father said, "No way. No way. I would have that thing." 1995. Well, this is outrageous. $29.95 is worse. Oh, no. I want a live tree. I've always had a live tree. That's what Christmas is all about. A live tree. Well, as a Cold War was raging between the United States and Russia, a Cold War settled into our living room. And in the place where the tree would have been, my father put a tree stand. And behind it on the wall, we had paneling in the house, my mom pasted up a Sears Roebuck advertisement for the 1995 space age Christmas tree. And that's what we had for a while. And my sister and I, we were young, and we were thinking, we're not going to get a tree this year, are we? They're not talking about it anymore. And then it became the night that my mother's family came over. My father's family, they were evangelical Christians, and they didn't party. They went to church. My mother's family, they were. My grandpa Nick was from Belgium, and he come over as a little boy, and they all worked in the textile mills. And he had cousins and aunts and uncles, and it was just a house full of people. And they liked to put nog in their eggnog. They felt really good. They were really a party bunch. My grandfather had this great liquor decanter. It was a little boy holding his penis. It's the mannequin piss, which is an iconic Belgian statue. You go to Belgium and you go to Brussels, and you'll see this statue of this. It was a watering fountain, and they don't know the origin of it exactly, but it's a little boy naked, and the water comes out. Well, his decanter had a battery in it, and he pressed the button, and the little boy would dispense liquor. It was so much fun. We long for this. This is one of our Christmas traditions. Grandpa, did you bring the little boy with you? But anyway, they were all kind of looking at the where we used to have a tree. And early that morning, my father got up and he put on his overalls and he put on his pants and his boots and he backed the station wagon out of the garage and he threw a chainsaw in the back of the station wagon and he peeled off down the driveway. He didn't say anything, but we kind of knew he was going to go get a tree. He'd had enough of this space-age Christmas tree. So he was going to go buy one, and he was gone a long time, and all the relatives started arriving. And we had like 2 tables full of food. Everybody brought food. I have to tell a little bit about my crazy relatives. My Uncle George was a short little guy, and he smoked cigars, and he also did a lot more eggnog. In fact, he just drank nog. And then my Aunt Mildred, she would decorate her own hats. And this particular year, she'd gotten a Mexican sombrero and put lights around it. And she had a little battery, and she could turn her head on, and it would light up. And it was just a crazy bunch of crazy, fun-loving relatives. Well, it's getting close to time to eat, and my father hadn't come back, and he peels up the driveway, and he throws up the back of the station wagon. He pulls out this big Christmas tree, and he brings it into the living room, and he plants it down in the stand like it's his trophy. I got a tree, by God. Here it is. I didn't ask anybody. I just got this tree. And my mother didn't say anything. She just said, go into the restroom. We only had one bathroom, one restroom. Go into the restroom, wash up, and we'll decorate the tree later. So what happened was, my father got that tree in a hurry. He cut it down really fast, and he threw a tarp around it. And he didn't realize that there was something in the tree. A little squirrel. And we surmised later that the fumes were leaking through the exhaust into the back of the station wagon. It sort of knocked this little squirrel out. And as he got inside the house, and we had a fire going in the fireplace, and all the relatives were out, the music was playing, and the squirrel came too. And he didn't know where he was. And he peered out from the branches, and he made a beeline for Aunt Mildred's hat. And he jumped on top of it and was going around like that. And my cousin Eddie tried to grab the squirrel. The squirrel runs across the mantle. And my Uncle George, he's looking at it and he's chasing it. And it goes down the table where the food was. It stepped into the pecan pie. And then it jumped off the table and went under my father's legs and into the bathroom. And my mother slammed the door behind him. And he was, what's going on? There's a wild squirrel in here. And it's been wreaking havoc. The squirrel had also, at that time, jumped on my Aunt Bessie's leg, and we believe that at that moment she invented the twist before Chubby Shepherd. And so the squirrel was in the bathroom with the door closed. And we decided we would go ahead and eat. Nobody wanted to go in the bathroom and get it out. We went next door to the Lock Boys and asked them if we could use their bathroom. And so we had to give them some food and invite them to the party. And after everybody left, my mother sort of broke down and said, "Oh, this was awful. This was horrible. Oh, the squirrel went in Aunt Mildred's hat, and then Uncle George was chasing it, and it was just chaos. It wasn't what I had planned, and I wanted that space-age Christmas tree." That was terrible. My father went over and put his arm around her and said, "It's all right. I'm sorry. I should have thought about your feelings. It's all right." And then it's the worst Christmas, isn't it? And my sister and I said, No, it was the greatest Christmas. It was so much fun watching that squirrel and watching all our relatives die and enjoy it. And it was great. And so every year after that, we would toast that squirrel while we decorated Mom's space-age Christmas tree.